two things of why I went from completely anti-government in the conspiracy world. Here it is. I was a mainstreamer before I involved myself with the conspiracy world. In the conspiracy world, which basically kicked off my first book, Exposing the Lies, Candida, Weaponized Fungus, Mainstreaming Mutancy. When I was in that world, I really went balls to the wall. Like, I was looking up stuff about Candida. I was trying to find the root cause for all cancer, disease, and chronic illness. And the thing that I focused on the most back then in 2017 was the Candida. So then, of course, I was anti-vax at the time because I'm like, oh my God, vaccines, yes, they are causing all these issues. And then I looked at the constituents of the vaccines, but I didn't really focus on the antibodies. All I focused on was the things that the people in the holistic world were focusing on were the adjuvants, the mercury, what else? The formaldehyde.
Love you.
Bye, honey. Go. See you later. Love you.
You go.
I'm on Facebook Live. Okay. Anyways, and the formaldehyde and what else? All the different minerals that are in the vaccines. And so when I was promoting my book and then found that the minerals in the vaccines were just minerals that you find in the area. And then I thought antibodies were okay because I really wasn't looking at antibodies as a thing to focus on. So I'm like, well, I don't understand. If you're exposed to minerals in the food supply and minerals in the air and the water, and it was like, oh my God, the air and the water is all poison, right? I'm like, well, what the hell? This is the microbiome. So the thing with my current book, The Evolution of the Jillian I Protocol, was now taking a middle ground because I couldn't really figure out what was really wrong with the vaccines. People aren't feeding their body correctly. And then I'm looking at Bill Gates and the vaccines and how he could, in the vaccines, they may have not had, see, this is what now we're trying to figure, this is now what we're focused on is the antibodies. Okay. Now we know the antibodies are the thing that kills people. But back then, when I was looking at the vaccines, I'm like, well, look, I mean, there are people that cannot, that are weak, that are being exposed to an environment that they cannot seem to transition nicely to. And so the vaccines give them a transition so that way they don't die from a rapid antibody accumulation because of their exposure to a new environment. And so I didn't see anything wrong with the vaccines. I didn't believe anything with the Illuminati and the cabal because now this is where I made that transition, that leap from believing in the cabal and the Illuminati to not believing it, to then believing it again when I realized my own childhood. I actually did a video about my background as far as being raised in a Jewish household in Saratoga, California, Silicon Valley, where yes, boundaries were crossed. Yes, abuse happened. Yes, I'm not going into details. And then all of my whole childhood was basically like what's going on right now with the social distancing, with the masks, which I wasn't wearing masks as a kid, but I was being isolated from the world. I had to basically, like, there was no negotiations. I lived in a dictatorship, like basically a communist environment. I came from a communist environment. Okay. And so my awakening was when I went to the white salt and I basically revealed so much of the childhood stuff, so much of the childhood crap that now is what we're dealing with as far as the, people destroying, like the government and the medical system destroying people at the micro level and promoting pedophilia, promoting sexual deviancy. And then I come from a household that basically is like the Illuminati. I mean, my total MK Ultra, devil heads everywhere, explicit sexual art on the walls in my household. I mean, I'm telling you, I was actually one of those that was mind controlled, and I never really took to the programming. And so that was my revelation a couple weeks ago, was the fact that I came from that background, because I didn't know why I was running away from California. Okay. I ran away from California for a reason, because I was part of that whole mind control crap that people think, oh yeah, the Illuminati is so like far away. You don't know who they are. And the Illuminati are people who are in the psychotherapy world. The Illuminati are people who are in the medical world. They are the ones that are promoting all of these things that destroy people at the micro level, and they use these psychological operations to then divert you from the actual truth. Okay, so that's why I went from first being like a mainstreamer, being programmed, thinking that I dealt with my childhood, and I did all my own self-help stuff, went to counselors, all that stuff, did the landmark education and rationalized why I should forgive my parents for a horrible childhood, whatever. And I need to take, control and take responsibility for my own choices in life. And I knew that. And so there's no reason why I couldn't have a relationship with my parents and why I couldn't forgive them for whatever, thinking that they were just, just repeating the same mistakes. And I find out that it was actually intentional. And then I found that playbook of how to create an undetectable mind control victim. And it was everything in my childhood that I experienced. And that's on my Facebook about satanic ritual abuse. Now, I wasn't one of those that were so like abused where, yeah, you want to commit suicide. No, I mean, I've had my days way back when, but no, I've really repaired myself on my own for many, many years. Okay. But now with the Jilly Juice, I've peeled back those repressed memories. I've peeled back all that programming. And then finally, my mother was pulling her same bullshit again. And I finally just walked away from my mother. My dad, okay, he wasn't really the perpetrator of it all, but it was my mother that was the one that perpetrated. My mother was the one that, and that's something like, with me being adopted from Vietnam, so many people were kidnapping babies during all these crazy manufactured wars and then bringing them here to the US and doing experiments on them because now they're rolling out what they were experimenting. Like this is a long range plan of the Illuminati, right? My parents are practicing all this shit on us as my sister and I, doing divide and conquer, causing so much rift between my sister and I with their games. And then I see them doing exactly the same thing on the population, pitting the Democrats against the Republicans, creating a situation where one is going to try to overtake the other, like survival of the fittest, like purposely creating a Darwinian type of situation. Who's going to win out? Okay. And then justifying why more control. And so, I left home at an early age, and I don't really talk about that. But since, uncovering these things through the Jilly Juice and seeing now with the social distancing and this manufactured war and this manufactured, viral pandemic, I'm not denying a virus, but the way they are reacting to it is exactly the way my mother reacted to the benign things that we did as children, because you do what you do as a kid. But the way they reacted to what my sister and I do as a kid, just doing whatever kids do, eating food that we're not supposed to have, was very draconian. And we're seeing draconian measures being implemented on the population. And then that playbook of how to create an undetectable mind control victim was actually like an actual PDF. And my mother was in San Jose State University, in psych. She has a master's in science. Okay. So anyone in university in any kind of college does experiments on the population. Biotech is doing these experiments on the population. So now I know that the Illuminati does exist because I freaking lived it. I lived it. And I didn't even know it until I started doing my own research on what it is I dealt with. And then I did a lot when in the conspiracy world I was researching MK Ultra. I was researching, all the satanic ritual abuse stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. And then, then you hear about, these devil worshippers that happen to be of a specific religion. I don't want to get the ADL on me, but you know what I mean. Okay. So anyway, so that's why I did a lot of backtracking. Now, fluoride, they're not trying to kill you. I mean, yeah, they probably put stuff in the drinking water, but the Jilly Juice is going to help release all the excess minerals. Okay. Yeah, I don't doubt that the government is trying to cause more commotion in your body, mind, and spirit. And in probably the chemtrails, probably 5G, probably. But remember, when you're doing the Jilly Juice, it's going to all that stuff like the fluoride and anything extra like minerals and whatever that will be released with the Jilly Juice. And then anything when it comes to energizing your body, instead of energizing the antibodies and all the disease in your body, you can now energize the life portion of your body, the prostaglandins, all of the nutrients that will then rebuild your body at the micro level. So that's why you're seeing me flip-flop, because you know that when the body is trying to evolve and it's being attacked, there are two things that happen simultaneously in a split second. The body's being attacked by a monoclonal antibody and it's trying to evolve at the same time. Oh, thanks, Cassie. Yeah, seriously, Cassie, seriously. So, and so, yeah, so when you hear about, me going like, okay, well, antibiotics are okay, but then wait, hold on. They are okay, but only a certain amount. And then the whole thing with evolution, pain, well, you don't want to be in pain on a continuous basis forever for the rest of your life, because who wants to do that? Eventually you'll die if you're always in pain all the time, right? 24/7 for the next however many years. I mean, the thing with the Jillian juice is, yes, you'll be in pain relative to your predispositions, but at some point you're going to see relief because you're going to finally heal 100% at the micro level in whatever area. But these monoclonal antibodies are being created from the manufactured pandemic. Yeah, I don't doubt that there was a new virus in the environment, and then then the population had to upgrade, had to evolve. And those that couldn't evolve would die, right? And those that were able to overcome and then become immune would then submit to a monoclonal antibody test, and that DNA was sent to a lab, and that's being used against the population yet again for you to now readapt to a new environment. So this problem reaction solution that's happening is so true. That's biotech. They are basically devising these antibodies to target specific systems in your body. Okay? That's why you get these aborted fetus cells in your vaccines, because they're taking the monoclonal antibodies from this new virus and then cross breeding them or cross germinating them or cross binding them, bound by, so what are they doing? They're taking proteins, viral proteins and antibodies, and binding them, bound by chemistry, and then putting them in the therapeutics, putting them in the vaccines, and then the person has to go and try to adapt to that new environment. So that's why they call it evolution, because it is, in a way, even though someone's purposely trying to destroy you, so you have to evolve, and evolution is relative to where you came from. So I could evolve from only a few predispositions, right? But some of you are trying to evolve from 1,000 predispositions. Evolution is relative to where you came from. Okay, so if we are evolving, if we all are 100% well, 100%, and then we get exposed to a new environment, we will all have to evolve to whatever the next level. Okay, and so that's what you have to understand. Hey, Chris. So that's what you have to understand. The evolution and adaptation is relative to where you're coming from. And so that's why you're seeing me kind of flip flop, because I'm going from like Cassie was saying. Word, agreed, felt, heard. I'm sorry, hun, the personal sucks so hard. Yeah, I feel the deprogram on all levels. Bruh, all levels. Hell yeah. I'm telling you, it's not easy. When I finally walked away from my mother, I've completely, she's written off, because I can't now say that she was just doing what she was taught by her parents as far as abuse and whatever. It was an intentional thing, and it's continuously an intentional thing, because I was covering all of the stuff that the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, is always on people about. I was covering the stuff in the conspiracy world, and she really just went off the freaking, she defriended me on Facebook, didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I'm finding out why, because she's part of all of it. She is part of all of this thing of having sexual identity on children at a young age. Okay? So that's the thing, is that she's part of all of this whole thing of why we have all of the sexual deviancy. It's not that she's the reason for it, but she's one of many people who are part of it. She's a Democrat, and she's part of all of it, and belongs to people who also subscribe to that. The university system is subscribing to sexualizing children at a young age. Okay? Now, luckily, I wasn't subjected to anything as egregious as some stuff you've read on the internet. But I'll say that boundaries were crossed. And so when I finally realized that my childhood is not normal, because I was knowing that I was wondering what was it like in other people's house. I've been dying to know how others were raised, because I'm like, I'm so different than everybody else in my class, in my own peer group, everywhere. I'm so freaking different. I always wondered why. Well, now I know why. Okay. And so that's why now I understand that. Now I know the Illuminati exists. Definitely the cabal exists. There is a people who are obviously biotech that are creating these. My dad's in biotech. He's part of all of the biotech. When biotech is playing with antibodies and then they're injecting the population, releasing them in the population, causing people to have all these weird things go on, you wonder why everyone has these weird shapes and weird sizes and lumps here and lumps there and cognitive issues and neurological issues, because antibodies are attacking them, causing their diagnosable diseases. The body's trying to evolve and they keep getting attacked by these antibodies. And this is the thing that biotech, Bayer, Inovio, Pfizer, GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, all of biotech, all the holistic things too. Oh, it's so deep, you don't even know how deep it is. All in the name of profits. All in the name of profits. And then Cassie goes, preach, disallowing that program to be run anymore. It's hard work cutting those cords. Yeah. But you know what? Once I did cut that cord from my own mother, I have such a freedom that now I could talk about anything and now I can make the connections. When you are stuck to someone that is part of your wondering what the hell is going on, you don't have the freedom to speak because you don't want to offend anyone. And so if you don't want to talk about something, if you can't talk about something that really is connected to a bigger picture, then you're missing a vital piece because that person is really putting a mask over your mouth. Thank you, Cassie. So the fact that I was in contact with my mother, a relationship with her, actually muzzled me from actually making the connections. Once I walked away from my mother, I was able to make the connections on everything and have the freedom to speak about it. And so, that's one of the things that you'll realize with Jilly Juice is that you're going to be peeling back the layers of programming. And some of you will figure out you are also MK Ultra'd as well, but you didn't know it. Now, do I know what programs my mother was involved with way back when in the 80s, 90s, 2000s? I have no idea. All I know is she worked with the social services, child protective services, and always in everybody's business about how to raise their kids. And guess what? You're seeing that right now being rolled out. Okay, you're seeing that being rolled out right now. The state is going to be in your business telling you how to raise your children. Okay? That's exactly what my mother's intent with her life. Her life work was about how to get the state all up in your business. So that's why I know now the Illuminati exists. And they're very, very accessible. They're everybody in the university system. Everybody that is a lab tech, that is a PhD in biotech, molesting rats. They're part of the Illuminati. They're closer than you think. There are people in your own family and your own friends that are part of the architects of the system, destroying at the micro level. That's how close the Illuminati is. They're right next to you. Some of you are sleeping with them. Doctors, teachers, lawyers, all the different main architects of the system. And today my husband went to Walmart and he was saying that a police officer was trying to stop him from not wearing him or stop him from being shopping at Walmart. And he was, he's saying, hey, you need to wear a mask. We need to ask you to leave. You need to wear a mask. He's like, so you're saying that I need to wear a mask? And he's like, well, I'll just put my stuff down right now and leave. And the police officer left him alone. So the thing is that now police officers, which are getting all this back the blue, well, the more that they're going to ramp up the social distancing and the masks, and then, of course, the vaccines and the therapeutics and the CPS, the more the police officers are going to have more control. See, we're in such a psychological operation. They're going to use the police officers to basically enforce the social distancing, the CPS, the masks, the vaccines, the therapeutics. You don't realize how deep the psychological operations are. And I'm telling you what, you don't know who you're dealing with. My mother is very, very strategic. She has a law degree. She's not a lawyer. She can't practice and pass a bar. Okay? You're dealing with people who know the law, who know how to basically mind control you. Okay? So, anyways. I don't know. So y'all, 20% just know that I'm my door and I'm not going to answer something they ask my original heritage. Oh yeah. Census, they're trying to figure out everybody's stuff, okay? they're at my door too for my next door neighbors. So, and people forget that with new data, we reevaluate our positions and make new assertions. And previous held views, that's evolution. Yeah, that's a problem in our medical industry, holding on to antiquated ideas like the law. That's not good science. Keep evolving. Thank you. I appreciate it. So just so you guys know that that's why I've had to flip flop, because I had to go through my own evolution, and I didn't want to be just one of those that just believe something without really substantiating it. So I can substantiate that, yes, biotech is trying to destroy you with the antibodies. Yes, monoclonal antibodies will destroy at the micro level. Yes, that's why your body's trying to evolve. Yes, there is definitely MK Ultra mind control, because you have the playbook from my own experience. I went through the MK Ultra, how to create an undetectable mind control victim in our society. I went through that in Saratoga, California. And yes, so I could substantiate. So now I know it's for sure. It's not just something that I believe because Alex Jones said it and he had a bunch of a following. I actually experienced it myself, and the Illuminati is closer than you think. They are people in not only high levels of government, but there are also people who hold major high level degrees in psychology, psychotherapy, psychiatry, and yes, policemen, officers, they're Freemasons. Let's just cut to the chase. They're Freemasons. Okay? So the Illuminati is not something that's so far away. It is right next to you. It's your friends that are promoting the antibody deception. It's your friends say, oh, go get a vaccine. It's your friends, go get a therapeutic. It's your friends, go get an operation. It's your friends, go to college and get your degree in brainwashing so you can destroy your friends and family. That's the Illuminati. You don't have to sign in blood like Kanye West and do the whole, sign that Jay-Z did, okay? That's not only the Illuminati. The Illuminati is also those that are your friends, that are anesthesiologists, that are part of the medical industry, that are doctors. That's what's so scary, is how close they are. And they are your friends and family that also make you conform to accepting death as an inevitable. So the reason why I released my book, my old book, is so that way you can merge the pink salt and the white salt. And then when you plateau on the pink salt, you go now straight to the white salt. And now you find the white salt is so much faster and so much more expeditious to get those antibodies out of your body, because those antibodies will destroy you. Those antibodies in the vaccines will destroy you. Okay? They will destroy you. So, anyways, you guys, so that's why I had a flip flop, because I had to be true to what I knew at the time. And then upon my research, when I actually was researching the anti-vaxxers' point of view, they were focusing on the wrong thing. So I said, bullshit, these people are stupid. Okay, why be an anti-vaxxer when it's about the formaldehyde? That's freaking minerals. That you find that in freaking fruit, in apples. So that's why I was getting all pissed off at the anti-vaxxers, because they were focusing on the wrong thing until I found out the thing that they needed to focus on, which is the antibodies. And then, yes, the holistic people who are also anti-vaxxers are then taking things that suppress their life side of their immune system, causing more antibodies to be induced. So if you're going to be an anti-vaxxer and the holistic world, you might as well just be a pro-vaxxer and just take your fucking vaccines, because they're all into these different detoxes and antibody-inducing protocols. What's the difference? That's why I flip-flopped, because I saw that the holistic anti-vaxxers were speaking out of both sides of their mouth because of what they were focusing on, which was the mercury and the formaldehyde, which is no different than any kind of mineral that's out there. So now it's the antibodies that the anti-vaxxers need to come off as intelligent. Intelligence is come from the antibody perspective. Monoclonal antibodies will destroy you and your baby and your husband and your wife and whoever if you don't release them, release the excess. Okay? That's the bottom fucking line. All right. Talk to you later. That's why I flip-flop. Bye.